Trevor Story and Carlos Correa are two of the best remaining free agents that are on the board. Where will they land? We have to wait and see. We have to wait for this lockout to end, but they are two of the best that are out there. They are two remaining shortstops of the five that entered this free agent market. They're the two that are remaining, and where they will sign is anybody's guess. So in this video, we're going to take a look at Trevor Story versus Carlos Correa head to head. Which one should you be rooting for your team to go and get? Because it feels like there's 4 or 5 teams in the mix for both players. So a lot of fan bases here rooting for their team to go and get, again, either Story or Correa. But who's the better player? Which one should you be rooting for your team to go and get? So that's what we're going to dive into. But remember, smash that like if you are a fan of either of these players, if you want your team to get one of the two, and subscribe. Stay close to the channel if baseball is your thing. That is what this channel is all about. So I think it's a good place for you to be. So let's dive into it, and let's first go to Trevor Story. We're going to take a look at his percentiles. That's where we're going to start. Trevor Story, 2021 percentile rankings. Good on the average exit velo in the 74th percentile. Maybe you could like that to be a little bit higher, but you'll live with 74. Hard hit rate, 61. Again, not great, but you'll live with it. Remember, 2021 was a down year for his standards. What you don't like is the K rate. You don't like the whiff. You don't like the chase rate. All of that. You don't like the barrel rate. That's good. You like that. So Trevor Story, his percentiles, you like the good stuff, the hard hit rate, the exit velo, the barrel rate. That's all good, not great. But what you don't like is the K rate, the chase rate, and the whiff rate. Let's take a look at Carlos Correa next. Correa's situation, a lot of red here. A lot of red. Average exit velo, actually a couple ticks below Story. We'll talk about that. We'll get into that. 72, 72nd percentile. He had one of the hardest hit at the max exit velo, but the hard hit rate is good. The K rate is good. The chase rate is good. The whiff rate, that means he's not chasing balls out of the zone. He's not swinging and missing nearly as much as Trevor Story. That's one of the knocks, and we'll dive into it a little bit more on Story, is how much he strikes out. But you like what Carlos Correa gives you. A lot of red here. So if you're in Camp Correa, you'll like what you see here. So we talk about the percentiles. Let's take a look at the stats next, and let's go to Trevor Story first off, taking a look at his stats. When you look at the home runs, when you look at the steals, when you look at what he can do from a counting stat perspective, Trevor Story is actually the better player. 37 home runs, 35 home runs. He's a 30-homer guy with an OPS when he's on in the high 8s, low 9s. You like that about Trevor Story? That is a big win when it comes to Trevor Story compared to Carlos Correa, because that's where we're going to next. We're going to take a look at Carlos Correa's stats, and you can see doesn't have the same power. His peak for home runs is 26. His OPS lives, it can be in the 7s, it can be in the low 8s. A couple times he's reached that 9 mark, 926 in 2019, 941 in 2017. So you like what you get from Carlos Correa, but what are you really getting if you're trying to go get Carlos Correa? You're looking to get those playoff numbers, and these are his playoff stats. 79 playoff games altogether, 18 home runs, 59 runs driven in, and 849 OPS throughout the playoffs. You like what he does throughout his postseason. He's played in the World Series, 3 different World Series trips for Correa, 5 times to the ALCS, 6 times to the ALDS. He has been a prime time playoff performer, and that is what you want. That is what you're looking for. Regular season numbers, don't care. You might argue he gets hurt, he misses time during the regular season. Just be there for the postseason, because you're a move to help us win the World Series. So there is really your case for Correa, is his playoff experience. Carlos Correa has it. Trevor Story does not. And that's one of the issues with Story, is that he's only had a handful of games in the postseason. Carlos Correa has lived essentially his entire career. Let's go back and look at the stats, okay? Remember, 7 seasons in the big leagues, 6 years he's been in the postseason. So every single year, Carlos Correa is in the postseason. Now, here's the thing. They both come with baggage. Carlos Correa's baggage fits in a garbage can. That is his big issue, is the 2017 cheating scandal that he was a part of. He was a big part of. And on top of that, his statements about it after the fact. Not just, I'm so sorry, the guilt thing. No, he sort of, thumbed his nose up at the situation. So Carlos Correa brings that in. So that obviously, in my opinion, hinders his chances at going to the Dodgers, even though somehow that got leaked and there was a source that said the Dodgers had checked in on Correa. I think that is categorically false. The Yankees, that's a hard move for the Yankees. That's a tough pill to swallow, Yankee fans. I know that there's a contingency of Yankee fans that want Carlos Correa, but I also know that there's a good number of Yankee fans that have not gotten over or forgiven Carlos Correa. Baseball fans across the globe down on the Astros, really seeming to be down on the big three, Altuve, Bregman, and Correa, for that cheating scandal from 2017. So can the Yankee fans get over those that are against Correa and boo him when he comes to Yankee Stadium? Can they get over that if they see him in pinstripes? So he certainly has his baggage, but listen, so does Trevor Story. Trevor Story's baggage is his home and away splits. The Colorado Air, certainly throughout history, as long as there's been a team in Colorado, they have had their numbers elevated to a degree by playing their home games out there in the thin air. And you take a look at the numbers here. Almost the same number of plate appearances, at-bats, games, all of it, home and away. Look at the big difference between, let's focus on the OPS. 972 to 752. If you go and get him and he becomes a 750 OPS guy, that's not good enough. That is not going to be good enough. That speed is great. You need the speed. You like the speed. That's one of the things you're going to be getting, but you're also expecting that power to come with it. And if he loses that, then you have an issue. You're not signing Story to be a 750 OPS guy. You're signing him to be an 850, a 900 OPS guy, a 30 homer guy. So Story's baggage is just as valuable as Correa's, okay? Correa, the issue is he brings this cheating scandal with him. A lot of fans around baseball hate him. Probably fans of your team hate him, so you don't like that. And on the other side with Trevor Story, you got a guy who has not performed nearly as well on the road as he has at home. Now, you can say it's not totally fair to do that because you're cutting off half of Trevor Story's career by not, counting those home games. So you got to count those home games to a point, but there is baggage there. There is baggage on both sides of the coin here. So let's take a look at the tail of the tape between the two. All right, what are the pluses? For Story, that average exit velo being a little bit greater than Carlos Correa. The counting stats being a little bit better. If you look at a lot of those counting stats, Trevor Story's are higher, and Trevor Story has played less seasons than Carlos Correa, but about the same amount of games. That's what we're going to talk about in just a minute with Correa. The speed is a plus. The durability is a plus. Trevor Story is there regularly. He has not had lengthy IL stints season in and season out. What are his negatives? That K, that chase rate, that whiff rate, we don't like that. That's not good. And those home and away splits, that's a negative as well. On the other side, Carlos Correa, that K rate is a plus. He doesn't strike out as much, doesn't chase as much. You like that. The walk rate is good. That's going to get more pitches that you can hit. You like that. The postseason experience is huge. We should have 2 pluses next to that. The clutch factor, what he does in the postseason, the fact that he almost thrives off of being hated is a plus. That baggage, though, is a negative, okay? You don't want to make your fan base upset. You want to try to avoid that at all costs, and Carlos Correa might upset a significant portion of your fan base, a greater portion depending on which team ultimately gets him. And that injury history. The injury history is an issue with Carlos Correa. Let's pull up the stats one more time for Correa and Story, just to give you an example. So look at Carlos Correa, 2015 rookie year, forget it. 2016, 153 games, we love it. 2017, 109, don't love that. 110 in 2018, don't like that. 2019, 75 games, 3 straight years, a lengthy IL stint. 2020, he played 58 out of 60 games, that's great, but it was only 60 games. And in 2021, he played 148 out of 162, so you like overlooked how the last 2 years he's been able to stay healthy. Again, 2020 was only a 60-game season. Compare it to Trevor Story in his stats, and there you see Trevor Story, again, called up in 2016, so we're not counting that, but there you see a minimum of 140 games, the majority of the season. 142 is the least amount of games he has played in a regular season, okay? Forget the 2020, that 59 is out of 60. We got to remember that. So you have the injury issue with Carlos Correa that cannot be overlooked, and the news recently that he is receiving treatments possibly for his back, and that teams are concerned and hesitant about offering him that major contract. They're not going to be able to see all of those physicals, all of those medicals until they make a significant offer to him, and then they're going to pony up the offer. And at that point, you're in, you're committed. If you get the medicals and they're bad, you're going to hope that he fails the physical. So the question is, to you guys, I pose, who you got? Who do you want your team to sign, Trevor Story or Carlos Correa? I want you to comment below in the chat section, in the section. Let me know what you think. Who do you want in the comment section? Tell me, is it Story or is it Correa for you? What do you want to do? When I think about the Yankees being in on Carlos Correa, I think about Cashman. I think about how much heat he's always under. Why would you go Correa if you know a significant portion of your fan base is going to be upset when you can go get Trevor Story and nobody will be upset? I mean, that's what all of these teams will kind of look at. If you're Toronto, if you're LA, if you're New York, if you're whoever, you have a shortstop that can give you great numbers, doesn't have the postseason experience, but could give you great numbers, and your fan base, 0% of your fan base will be mad about Trevor Story coming over. So a big question that front offices have to answer when they're weighing out Trevor Story, Carlos Correa, and I want you to weigh out in your mind. And again, let me know, who would you take? In my mind, it just depends. For me, who am I picking? It depends on where am I located. If I'm in New York, if I'm the Yankees or the Mets or the Dodgers or the Angels, I'm going Trevor Story every day of the week and twice on Sundays. If I am Detroit, if I am Seattle, if I am Miami, I'll probably go Correa because I'm trying to knock that door down and become a playoff contender, and I could do that if I go get a playoff performer like Correa. My fan base was not really hurt by Carlos Correa in the 2017 Astros, right? Didn't lose to them in the playoffs. So I would kind of, if I'm those markets, I would probably lean Correa. Again, the price tag is a big factor here. How much does he want? What's up with the back? There's a lot that goes into this. It's not an easy question to answer, but I want you to try to answer it like I'm trying to answer it in the comment section below. Listen, you guys have been amazing. Ballcap Nation, I appreciate you. I tip my cap to you, Ballcap Nation. Make sure to hit that like to grow Ballcap Nation. You hit that like, YouTube plugs it into the algorithm and pushes it out there. So make sure to hit that like. And if you want your team to sign one of these two, make sure to hit that like. And if you've made it to the end, congratulations. You made it to the end. We're about 13 minutes in. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. If you're here all the way to the end, reward yourself with a shiny new free subscription to Ballcap Sports. I appreciate you guys. I truly do. I really mean that. Stay close to the channel for more baseball content. Even though there's a lockout, the baseball content is still coming strong. So make sure, stay close to the channel. I appreciate you spending some time with the channel. I will add some links to some of my other content for you to check out here now. And thank you for watching my video.